This is my top 10 movies of 1999. There are 8 movies on this list. 8 movies that I gave a 5-star review. That just doesn't happen most years. I can't think of another year, actually, off the top of my head, where I gave that many movies a 5-star review. It's a very good year if I give 5 movies 5 stars. A very good year. So yeah, 8 movies, getting a 5-star review. This is my top 10. As is customary, we will start with my least favourite. I won't say worst, because there's not a single bad film on this list. But my least favourite, working up to my best. This was a damn hard list to do, it must be said. But we'll start with number 10, which is Ang Lee's film Ride with the Devil. I think this film is incredibly underappreciated. It never gets talked about. I remember when it came out, it got a lot of very good reviews, but then it's one of them movies, a little bit like Cold Mountain, that no one seems to mention anymore. It's just, yeah, got quite a good critical response, and then boom, that's it. Gone, it's forgotten, nobody talks about it. When you mention Ang Lee, people think Life of Pi, Brokeback Mountain, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, which is actually my favourite of his. But yeah, this never comes up in conversation. It's an incredible film. It's one of my favourite westerns. I've not seen it for some time, but back when it came out on DVD, it's one of the first DVDs I bought, and I watched it quite a lot because it's incredible. It is. It's a really great western, and to me it shows. It's one of the reasons why Ang Lee is one of my favourite directors, because he can jump into any genre of film and excel at it. And to me, that's the absolute mark of a master. A bit like Kubrick. Ang Lee's done a western here. It's brilliant. I give it a 4.5 out of 5. He's done the martial arts, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, which I absolutely love. He's period drama with Sense and Sensibility, one of the best, probably the best Jane Austen adaptation, to be honest, outside of the BBC Pride and Prejudice. And plenty of others. I like his version of Hulk even. I think it's a really good comic book movie. So yeah, great director, one of the best. And if you haven't seen this film, if you like westerns, good westerns, if you're itching to see a good western, you think they're few and far between, check this out. Ride with the Devil, fantastic. At number 9 for me is David O. Russell's Three Kings, a film that's famous for the spat between director O. Russell and George Clooney, who literally came to a physical fist fight, due to George Clooney heroically coming to the defence of one of the extras, the background artists. But that aside, this was a first date movie for me. Before I met my wife, I had one girlfriend before I met my wife many years ago, and this was the first date movie that we saw, and I could sense she did not like it. However, I loved it. I thought it was a great movie, really good war film, quite satirical, very funny, but also dark and serious. Underneath, has a lot to say. It takes a look at the Gulf War, the second Gulf War, I think. But just incredible cast, incredible direction, great action sequences. Really good use of kind of slow-mo, looking at a bullet going inside someone, the damage it does, just turning what in another film would just be boom, shot, you down, turning it into like this epic little sequence that, it's very interesting, really well directed. Just a great war film. At number 8, we get to my second favourite animated movie of all time, which is The Iron Giant. I just think it's an absolutely brilliant film, directed by Brad Bird, who would obviously go on to great things with a Mission Impossible film, and Incredibles and goodness knows what. A really good filmmaker, again, in his own right. Started with this animation, 2D hand-drawn animation, which kind of makes me hanker for more 2D hand-drawn animations. You know, when they're this good, very emotional film. It's a film that I get to the end of and it reduces me to tears every time. It's just really heartfelt, really poignant, and just, yeah, highly emotional experience. And it's for kids. It's for families. It's great. It's wholesome. It's got a good message about sacrifice and friendship. And yeah, I love it. Great film. At number 7 is The Hurricane. First thing I knew about Reuben Hurricane Carter, the boxer who was falsely imprisoned for murder, was the Bob Dylan song. You know, an 8.5-minute epic song, which is brilliantly written, absolutely masterfully written song by Bob Dylan. The words of it, the lyrics tell the story of Reuben's life, just incredible. And yeah, this film came out, and it is equally incredible. It's probably my favourite performance from Denzel Washington, if I'm being honest. But yeah, it's just, the man was flawed. He wasn't, you know, he wasn't a hero by any stretch of the imagination. He wasn't a saint, but he was undeservingly put in prison for no other reason than the colour of his skin. And this film deals with that, looks at the toll it has on him as a person. And yeah, just, it's a great film. If you've not seen it, check it out. It really shows the power of the human will and the ability to thrive in the darkest of situations and the hardest of situations, and really about how sometimes the best of men comes out during the worst of times. Number 6 is another incredible true story, which is The Insider, starring Russell Crowe, directed by Michael Mann, also starring Al Pacino, I might add. It's a film of two halves. You kind of got two main characters, two lead characters. The first half of the film is mostly kind of taken up with one character's side of the story, and the latter half is taken up with the other. But it's about a whistleblower. It's about the guy, Jeffrey Wigand, who blew the whistle on the tobacco industry. At a time when, believe it or not, people didn't realise just how harmful tobacco was and the damage it was doing. The fact that it was addictive. And the tobacco companies knew. They were putting more addictive qualities in there to get people, hooked on them, on cigarettes and this, that and the other. And yeah, like, you don't even think about it now. You take it for granted. Yeah, of course, everyone knows they're addictive. Duh. But that's because of this guy and the reporter who brought his story, or tried to bring his story, out into the public domain. It's a great film. It's an epic. It's very dramatic. It's one of those movies where it's a lot of talking, but it's actors on their A game, great actors on their A game, doing what you want to see from great actors, just acting their socks off. So yeah, one of Russell Crowe's best performances. Al Pacino's great as always. Even on a bad day, he's still watchable. And yeah, Michael Mann, one of my favourite directors as well. He hit a bit of a hat trick with this and Heat, yeah, whichever other one it was. But I just remember around this time, Michael Mann was a director that I was just like, whoa, this dude knows what he's doing. Number 5 is American Beauty, the first film by Sam Mendes. Now, he had a long history in theatre, a huge background in theatre, so he wasn't new to directing, but this was his first venture into feature film, and man alive, what an incredible effort. For a debut feature film, this is quite something. Brilliantly character-driven film that won Best Picture at the Oscars. I personally think something else should have got it, obviously, because I've got 4 films on this list that are above it, but I don't begrudge it. You know, it's a 5-star film. It's a classic. It's brilliantly made on all fronts. I totally understand it getting the Oscar, and I'm not bummed out about it doing so. It's a worthy winner, and yeah, just an incredible piece of work. It's quite heartbreaking in places. It's a movie about the suburbs, the veneer of something that is wholesome and healthy on the top, on the surface, when underneath actually everything's crumbling, everything's broken, relationships are deteriorating. You know, we look at kind of, you know, the picturesque family on the surface, but really they're all kind of tearing each other apart and very dysfunctional. And that's kind of, yeah, the picture of suburban life, really. The lie that I guess is told about you know, having a house, raising kids, and all that kind of stuff, having a career and keeping it all together. Something's got to give. But yeah, it's an incredible dramatic piece of work that deals with a lot of different themes through a lot of different characters who are all flawed, but you still can't help but love. And number 4 is The Matrix. Yeah, obviously Star Wars The Phantom Menace was the big science fiction movie that year that everyone was looking forward to. It was getting all the press. The first thing I knew about The Matrix was a 5-star review in Empire. I was flipping through Empire, I read it quite religiously at the time, turned over the page, there's a film with Keanu Reeves in, for crying out loud. You know, hadn't really done anything decent since Speed. His career had taken a little bit of a nosedive by that point. Yeah, Speed was really the last great thing he'd done. And then boom, 5-star review. The Matrix. Never heard of it. What is this? You know, I read the review. It sounds really intriguing. Before I get to go and see it, everyone's talking about it. Have you seen The Matrix? Have you seen The Matrix? What is The Matrix? It was just like, got to see this film. I go, I watch it, and I was blown away by it. I was like, man alive, that might be the best science fiction movie I've ever seen. Might be. That, you know, at the time, a lot of films aped it. You know, the bullet time stuff, the look of the film with the wardrobe and all that. All this kind of emo type of stuff came out. Obviously, that's debatable whether that's a good thing, but suffice to say, it had a huge impact on culture and different forms of media. And I think certainly anime became a lot cooler after The Matrix. A lot of people got into anime as a result of The Matrix. So yeah, just the impact, the cultural impact that it had is just, unless you were there at the time, it's kind of hard to get it across. But there are films like that. We all have them. We all know them. We've all been around at a particular time when a particular film has been just an absolute phenomenon, and this was it. And it, for me at any rate, it dwarfed Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. It took away a lot of the build up to Phantom Menace just because of how good it was. At number 3, it's David Fincher's Fight Club. Just wow. Yes, it's been many years since I've seen Fight Club actually, and I do intend on reviewing it at some point soon on my channel, because I have been trying to go through the David Fincher movies. I've been a bit sidetracked with other things, but I do want to get back to that. But at one time, this was my all-time favourite movie. I saw it relatively soon after it came out. I didn't get to see it at the cinema, but I saw it as soon as it came out on home video and was just blown away by it. The inventiveness, the visual trickery that was going on, the story, the characterization, the themes, the weight of things. I think a lot of movies towards, well, in this period, in 99, 2000, around that period, were really dealing with masculinity towards the end of the 20th century. You know, just the personal struggle, the personal war that most men had around this time was essentially emasculation, was a sense that men's role in society was shifting, that it wasn't being held with such regard as it once was. Our war, so to speak, as it says in Fight Club, we didn't have a Vietnam War to go to or a Gulf War or anything like that. We were kind of living in this time where our war was a very personal one. It was going on inside. It was this idea that, who are we? What is our place? What does it even mean to be a man in the modern world, when everyone's telling us that actually particular ideas of what it was to be a man are dying, are going. That's not the way we look at things anymore. And I do think that a lot of films were dealing with that kind of theme throughout the world. American Beauty being another one. We have this character, Lester Burnham, he just doesn't know what he's doing with his life. His life's falling apart. He's doing everything that society has told him he should do. He's got the career, he's quite highly paid, he's doing all right, but he feels like he's in a prison cell. That his life has become a prison cell. And it's just like, so all that stuff is dealt with in American Beauty, and it's also dealt with here. It will also be dealt with in my number one choice. So I do think it's definitely a theme that was being dealt with, or an issue, or something that was common. Big Lebowski being another one. So Fight Club, absolutely fantastic. Just everything that cinema should be about for me, taking really weighty themes and dealing with them in a very entertaining, very intelligent way, with characters that I can't help but get really engrossed in. At number two for me is what is still M. Night Shyamalan's best film, The Sixth Sense. I've never been as down on Shyamalan in his later career as most people. I still only think he's made 2 bad films. The rest of his work, to varying degrees, I really like. I do think he just hit a home run with Sixth Sense. It's incredible, and the reason it's so incredible is it's because I get so invested in the characters. The work that is done with the characters in this film is immaculate. Even after the twist, once you find out the twist, a lot of films, when you have a twist ending, it loses impact. Afterwards, you go back to it, you revisit it, you know what's coming, it kind of loses some impact. I got that with Gone Girl, to be honest, another David Fincher film. Incredible first watch. A little bit dampened on second one, just because I knew what was coming. Still an immense film, don't get me wrong. Really immense film. But here, the reason that The Sixth Sense works so much for me is the investment that is placed in the characters. Once you get past the twist, there is still a real emotional punch that is packed with both the stories that are going on. The story of the little boy who sees dead people, the relationship between him and his mother, a lot of the things that they deal with towards the end of the film that, again, always gets me, always makes me kind of tear up, get a lump in my throat. And then obviously the ending, the twist ending with Bruce Willis and how he deals with his predicament and his relationship with his wife and letting go. It's a film about, letting go and a lot of other things as well. But it's beautifully shot, it's brilliantly acted. You've got Bruce Willis giving one of his finest performances, quite frankly. The kid whose name just totally escapes me right now, just one of the best child performances that I've ever seen. Certainly when it came out, at any rate. Sixth Sense, number 2. But my number 1, one of my favourite movies, still in my top 5 movies of all time, is Magnolia. This is the film that, if somebody asks me if you could have written any film, what would it be? I would say this. I know a lot of people would say, surely you would say Dark Knight. Dark Knight is my favourite film, obviously, but there's a lot of other stuff tied up in that, being a Batman fan, this, that and the other. But just from a writing standpoint, what Paul Thomas Anderson does with Magnolia, the way he weaves this tapestry of life, all these different characters, the different stories, obviously taking a lot of inspiration from Shortcuts, Robert Altman, that kind of thing, but really just making it his own and giving us a story about broken people and just the message that we need to treat each other better. You know, it's a simple message. It's one I'm sure most people would agree with, but it's delivered in such a heartfelt, affecting way that it just hits me every time. And the final sequence with Melora Walters, which most people I'm sure switch off at because it goes on for quite a long time. If you're not paying attention, you stay there to the end. When she finally looks up into camera and she smiles, every time it breaks me, because it's just like, it's the most hopeful point of the film. You know, it leaves us on this point of hope in which actually, despite all the crap that she and the other characters have been through in this film, things are going to get better. You know, she's found this guy, she's found this relationship that is loving. There's a very dichotomous towards the relationship she's had in the past, particularly with her father. And it's just like, yeah, there's hope there. Things are going to get better. It's got one of my favourite movie characters of all time. The character played by John C. Reilly. He's this Christian cop, but he's not got it all together. Yes, he's a man of faith. He has certain beliefs, but he's just struggling to try and be human, man. And it's just like, but he has a big heart. And I love the character. Absolutely love it. I think it's a very honest portrayal of a man with faith, you know, that doesn't paint him out to be a Bible bashing religious zealot, but it also doesn't paint him out to be a perfect know-it-all, very, you know, got all his eggs in the basket kind of guy. He's just a very real person. As a character, it's always spoken to me. I've always gravitated to him. I've always loved him as a character. And just like I say, it's a film I wish I'd have written if I could write worth a damn. But like I said, plenty of other stuff in there. You know, like Tom Cruise giving an amazing performance, a really, really good character study of this man who, on the surface of things, is cocky and sure of himself and very good at being demeaning towards women. And then when you break all that stuff down and get underneath the surface, it's actually this guy who is just broken because he saw the terrible way that his father treated his mother, and you know, he had to live through this kind of seeing his mother die in this very particular way that just made him distance himself from getting too close to women. And it's just, as I say, every character in this film, it's a 3-hour epic, it's very dramatic, it's an 18 rated movie for very good reason, really harsh language, some sex stuff in there. It's very full on. I wouldn't say it was for everyone. It feels, you're very weighted down by the time you finished watching it. You know, you feel like you need to go and take a breather, but in the best possible way. You know, it puts you through the ringer, but by the end of it, picks you back up and sends you on your way with some hope in your heart and the desire to go out there and be a better human. So for me, that's why it is the best film of 1999. It is, as I say, still one of my top 5 movies of all time. If you haven't seen Magnolia, what are you doing with your life? Go out, check it out, watch it. It's incredible. It is a masterpiece. It's my favourite film, obviously, by Paul Thomas Anderson, who would, you know, go on to make There Will Be Blood, another incredible movie. But yeah, just a masterpiece. I can't say any more than that. But there you go. That is my top 10 movies of 1999. Please let me know what you think of my choices. Comment down below. Let me know what your choices are. And yeah, also let us know what your favourite movie of 1999 is, or if you just have a memory about a particular movie that may not be your favourite, but just, yeah, gets you in whatever particular way. Let us know. Share some stories. That's what film is all about. Brings us closer together. Helps us to relate to one another in a real human way. So yeah, it's why I love film. I'm sure it's why you do as well. Thank you for watching this video. Do leave your thoughts down below. And yeah, until next time, crack it.